through my veins. On the pitch where the glory remains, the cockerel stands brave on the crest. North London pride, this ain't no jest. From Lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into the final score as we put a bow on today's match versus Crystal Palace as they ended up winning 2-0 today. I do want to welcome everyone in. The chat room is open, but make sure you hit the like and subscribe button as we kick on. So, James, obviously not exactly the most ideal result today, but that being said, a lot of it was understandable. As this match got underway, not too long in, Dejan Kulusevski goes out with what looked like to be a significant injury. But Ange Postecoglou in the post-game match press conference was asked by Alistair Gold of Football.London the severity. Postecoglou responds and says he should be okay. Just talking to him after, the medical team are not too concerned about him. It was just a knock. So I think you were right in your observation that it was probably just for taking him off for precautionary reasons, which it's good to hear. But that being said, once Kulusevski came off, it really limited what Spurs were trying to do coming forward. It also didn't help that Crystal Palace was able just to completely play their game. Spurs end up losing 2-0. So your reaction to Postecoglou and his words on Dejan Kulusevski?
Well, we've got to look at the positive. If it's just a knock and the medical team are not concerned and Ange isn't concerned, we've got to look at the positive side on it, and hopefully that he will be probably rested against Villa on Friday. But given the rest period there, he should be good for the final on the 21st. So yeah, not exactly an ideal end to the week. It'd been a great week, and everybody was buzzing. The stadium looked like it was buzzing. I know Dermo, who was there for us, he was buzzing. But yeah, so not great, but hopefully it's nothing to be concerned about with what Ange and the medical team are saying. So I'm optimistic that he will be good for the final.
Absolutely. Again, when I was looking in the context of this game, I was not at all upset about the starting 11 and just the way that Ange Postecoglou was going to set up for this game. It played out. I think you and I both agreed that it played out the way that we were expecting it to play out. But that being said, that is our 20th loss in the Premier League. And Ange Postecoglou is written in the books as, I guess you could say, one of the worst Premier League managers we had, albeit we're in a European final. So that's the thing, man. When I look at the context of this one, I understand it didn't necessarily kill me as some of the other losses. But that being said, man, 20 losses is still 20 losses.
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful when you say we've lost 20 times in a season. It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Well, let's not sugarcoat it. It is unacceptable. Ange Postecoglou has gone down in the history as, let's say, one of the worst Premier League managers we've had in the Premier League era. And it's not good enough. But he could also write his name in history as one of the best managers in modern history within 2 games' time when we live for Europa League. So look, I'm going to take this game with a pinch of salt, take it on the chin. Yeah. It is what it is. Could it have been better? Absolutely. Could it have been worse? Most definitely.
Most definitely. And when you look at how many goals were taken off the board in the first half, I mean, that easily could have been 3-0 going into halftime. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I think it shows that we've still got a lot of growth that we still need to do as a football club, as a squad. There is growth that needs to be done, and be it under a new manager next year or under Ange next year, and another summer transfer window with better recruitment. And I think we're in it'll be a different ball game next year, and I don't think we're going to be in the same position again next season. I just think this year's just been a complete anomaly.
I would agree.
I mean, we've talked about the injuries. We've talked about, and people say, "Oh yeah, but you've got the players back." But when you think about it, Steve, is that yes, we got the players back, but when players came back, we lost other players, and then when they came back, we lost other players. It has just been non-stop. It has been a consistent form in our side this season. Even now, we've got Maddison out, we've got Bergvall out. Kulusevski picked up the knock with his foot injury. Then he just comes back, and then he goes, and then he's just starting to shake the rust off himself, and then he gets a bad tackle and picks up another knock. It's just been one hit after another on this team, and my heart goes out to them because it has, and to Ange, it has just been an unprecedented amount of injuries that we've had to contend with. Yeah, and endure. Yeah, endure is probably the best word we can use. I was going to
say that I don't care if you're Pep Guardiola, Arne Slot, Mikel Arteta, Jurgen Klopp, Carlo Ancelotti, Hansi Flick. Name your top manager in the world. I do not care when you lose 8 to 10 members of your starting 11, and they're essentially, this wasn't a slow burn when it came to injuries. A lot of these injuries literally happened within a span of like 3 weeks. And now all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're left with your squad players having to pick it up week in and week out against some of the best in the Premier League. You're going to have issues, and it doesn't matter the manager that you have. You're going to struggle. And when some of these players came back, we were already out of Europe. The Carabao Cup. We were already out of the FA Cup, and the only competition that we had left to compete on was Europa League. And you know what? To their credit, Premier League notwithstanding, we're in a European final.
Yeah.
So they were able to compete on that in that competition and get to this point where now we're 90 minutes away from hoisting our first trophy. So there is something to show for all of this. And I do agree with you. I think this was an anomaly. But that being said, when I think back to the summer transfer window and understanding what Postecoglou needed in the form of experienced squad players to withstand certain injuries, that's not what he was given, and that showed throughout the course of the season. But I will say that again today, you're absolutely right. It was not good enough. Jed Spence's performance was not good enough. Pap Sarr's performance was not good enough. At times, Ben Davis and Kevin Danso, it just wasn't good enough. It seemed like the only guys out there as this game progressed today, the only guys that seemed to actually be putting a shift was Rodrigo Betancourt in that first half. I thought his ability to cover that space and at least try to keep Crystal Palace from absolutely gashing us down that right side. It was Rodrigo Betancourt. In the second half, it was Archie Gray, and it was Mikey Moore down that right-handed side. So I do want to give some flowers to certain people because they did play hard. It was nice. It was nice seeing Sonny back out there again, getting 30 minutes and just kind of getting back into the groove of things. I think that's going to play absolutely a massive for him heading into the Aston Villa game, where I would probably assume that maybe he starts on the left side.
Yeah, I think we'll probably give him. I think he'll probably get an hour first half in the Aston Villa game. Like Niall says there. Big up Niall. It's unbelievable to think he will literally go down as Spurs' worst manager, but he will also go down a hero for winning the Europa League. Absolutely. My sentiments exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. This is that, and that's how you know it's been an anomaly, because I can't remember a time where a team got relegated and won a trophy, or a team was essentially right above the drop line, but yet they won a European trophy in the same season. I can't at the top of my head. I can't think of one because it rarely, if ever, happens. I think it wasn't it West Brom maybe that did it, that got relegated and still won a cup.
Yeah, I think they got relegated and won the Carabao Cup. I don't know. I'll have a quick look and.
But I asked this yesterday, and I think it's pretty poignant because we're about to get into our player ratings and our man of the match. But I asked this yesterday: if Ange Postecoglou goes on to lead this team to a Europa League title and raises that trophy, does it erase the 20 losses? Does it erase the negatives that happened in the Premier League? Because this would be the when you look at the Carabao Cup, they got to within 90 minutes of that one, and they turned around and were able to get to a final and win it. Does that actually play in his favor? Does that erase the negativity? I don't know.
Yeah. So the only team to win a cup and be relegated in the same season in the Premier League was Wigan. Wigan won the.
There you go.
Wigan, yeah. They won the cup and then got relegated after they lost to Arsenal, and that was the 2012-2013 season. The only non-domestic, only team that's ever done it in Europe, and it's not even an English team, and it's Marseille won the Champions League in 1993 and were then relegated for their part in the match fixing scandal in the end of the 94 season. So it's not the same season, but they went on to win a European competition and then were relegated.
Right.
So
yeah, but that wasn't based on league results. That was because they were part of a match fixing scandal.
Yeah. So, but it's never happened where they've won a major trophy and been relegated. I mean, there's probably been teams that have come close. Sure. So I'd just like to welcome Donna Cullen in. Wagwan. She says, "Wagwan, Mr. Steve. Your little stalker there is joining us live." But yeah, I mean,
don't get me wrong. I mean, the Europa League is a significant trophy. It's nothing to sneeze at. But does it really erase the negatives of the season? That's the question, right? I don't know.
I don't think it erases the negative or nothing will erase the negative of the season, because when we win the Europa League, and I'm going to say when because I'm confident of that. When we win the Europa League, it's people will always then say, "Okay, yeah, you won a trophy, but you were absolutely." We won. Yes, you won the Europa League, but you were shit in the process,
right?
And things like that. And I understand, but rather than it'll paper over some cracks. That's the best way of doing it. It will paper over some cracks. It looks like Dermatron's joined us in.
Yep. He says that I'm pissed off at that load of crap. Never seen it so bad. I think we've seen it worse. Then he said the ground was dead for the whole game, and Ange had no clue. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get into player ratings here real quick, as we'll do this quickly before we wrap this up. And let's go ahead and start with really quick with Anton Kinski.
I'm going to give him a 6. I can't really fault him for the goals. He made some good saves, but he could have done better for. I think it was Crystal Palace's first goal. He could have done better. But so I think a solid 6 is about fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it's wild that the site that I'm looking at gave Anton Kinski an 8.3. I'm going to give him a 5.5. I thought there were moments, and now by the way, 5 out of 10, 5 is about bang on average.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him just slightly above average. There were some moments where he was fine, but then there was a lot of moments where he was absolutely shaky. When I look back at those 2 goals, I also noticed there was potential where he was out of position right there. So I don't want, like, here's the thing. I was happy to see Kinski get some run today. I was happy to see it. But that being said,
go on, Steve. Sorry, I'll ask you in a second.
Done. I was done.
I was going to say, do you think the shakiness comes from him not playing though, as well?
100%. 100%. Yeah, he hasn't played since February, right?
February, yeah. The FA Cup game against Aston Villa. That was his last game. Right. I mean, he may have played in the under-21s or the reserve games, but not played a Premier League game or a Europa League game or even an FA Cup game. Well, no, not the FA Cup, not a Carabao Cup
Europa
game.
League, he's a part of the Europa League squad, but he hasn't gotten to run there at all as well too. But I mean, we're already 11 days into May. It's been a few months since we last saw Kinski. And I think that having that recognition of actually being on the pitch, having to organize your back line and some of these things where you haven't done that in quite some time. assume that you're going to be a little shaky in that back. Let's turn to Pedro Porro.
I'm going to give Porro I'm going to give him a 7. I think he did well. He was one of the few creative outlets that we had. Delivered that brilliant cross that I think perhaps I should have done better with. And he had that free kick he had as well, where it was just whiskers over. So I'm giving Porro a 7. He worked hard. For somebody who played a full 90 on Thursday as well, he never stopped. And I think a 7 is only fair for Pedro here. He played well for me.
Yeah,
one of the few shining lights.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give Pedro Porro the same rating. And it was interesting, right? Because Crystal Palace understood the assignment and weren't attacking down that right flank, not attacking on the regular. And when they did, Pedro Porro was in position to actually to make a play on the ball. But you're absolutely right. Coming forward, he was really one of our only shining lights. Especially with the back line that we had today, it was kind of interesting to see that Pedro Porro was pretty much the only anchor of that back line. So, I'll agree with that. Kevin Danso.
So I'd sort of like replaying the game in my head and thinking about everything that he did and thing. I'd have to say I'm going to give Danso a 5, which is, like you say, is about average. When walkabouts in certain aspects of the game, leaving too much space between himself and Ben Davies. Lost out a few times to other players who pressed him. But that being said, he did make a couple of blocks, which is why he's not lower than a 5. He did make a couple of blocks, did get his foot in, did make a couple of tackles that could have stopped Crystal Palace breaking through even more and scoring more goals. So that's why I'm giving Danso a 5.
I am going to concur with this one as well too. I thought that Danso, the space that was between him and Davies, allowing Mateta just to kind of run through on through balls, allowing Easy to run off his right shoulder as well too, as they were tracking back for those 2 goals. Now, granted, I don't blame those 2 goals specifically on Danso, but that being said, you're the guy, you're the last line of defense, right? So you're supposed to put yourself in a little bit of better position to at least try to get a block on it. And he did in the second half perform a little bit better than he did in the first half. But that being said, I thought it was about a bang on average performance. Let's go to Ben Davies.
Now this might be a bit controversial. I'm going to give Davies a 7. I think he was probably out of the back line. He was with Pedro. He was consistent in his defending, but I'm giving him a 7. I'm marking him up rather than giving him a 6. I'm marking him up because he was constantly having to cover for Danso, and he was constantly having to cover for Jed Spence, and so he tried to link the defence and midfield up, but the midfield was a little bit flat. So, but I think Davies really worked hard for the team and tried to make the best of a shit situation. So I'm going to give Ben a 7.
I feel it. I give him a 6.5. I thought he was better today than Danso, and I did think that his positioning was good, but because Jed Spence was constantly out of position, it almost made him look bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Jed Spence was, allowing Munoz basically to run free. It almost made Davis look bad. Because it looked like from the optics, it looks like both, that Munoz was able to burn them both. But that being said, I think his positioning was fine. He just didn't have enough time to track down and close down space. So from that standpoint, I did think you're right. I think that he was at least trying to link up to the midfield, trying to do his best. in the second half. I think he had a couple nice tackles as well too. So I do want to give Ben Davis some of his flowers, but I can't go higher than 6.5. How about Jed Spence?
So I'm going to give. It pains me to give it to him, but I'm going to give Jed Spence a 3.
Yeah.
So repeatedly out of position, and the more that Palace were just attacking, he never seemed to get his head, screw his head on and say, hang on a second, I need to readjust my position in here. He just kept wandering out of position, wildly out of position, leaving poor Ben Davis and Benton Kerr to try and cover the space that he was 30, 40 yards up the pitch. I hate singling out a player, but I think he was particularly bad. And I suppose shambolic is the word I want to use with the way he was defending.
That's a very good word to use because it was shambolic. I give him a 3 as well too, and a lot of it has to do with the first half. And it's like I understand, right? Because he's going to be inverted into the middle of the field, and it doesn't matter if you get your back pocket pick or there's an interception on the ball. You have to track back. You have to hustle and close down that space. And it didn't seem like he was even remotely interested in getting back onto the ball. And it was funny because Betancourt is playing the 10, and he's hustling back to try to close it down as best as he can. And unfortunately, sometimes it looked good, sometimes it didn't look good. But for whatever reason, Jed Spence just was not motivated today. I don't understand. What adjective to describe it. Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah, I agree.
You wonder if it's personal.
Yeah. I mean, it's for how well he's been playing as of late. It's just like, well, what were you doing?
It seems so out of character. Archie Gray.
I'm going to give Archie I'm going to give him a 5.5. I was going to give him a 6, and then I was thinking, does he actually deserve a 6? Is it a 5? So I'm actually going to give him a 5.5. I think he was in the second half. He played a lot better in the first half than he did in the first half. But I think he was bypassed quite a lot. Like the ball was played over the top of him. He wasn't able to influence the game so much in the first half. Whereas in the second half, he was able to sort of get his foot on the ball a little bit. I'll be interested to see what he could do in his preferred position rather than him being constantly played out of position with Archie Gray. But yeah, I think he played well and he worked hard for the team, which is why I'm giving him 5.5. But in the first half, it was like play the ball anywhere but to Archie Gray sort of thing. Long balls over the top.
Yeah.
To nobody.
Being in a position to step up and challenge as Crystal Palace was essentially just knifing their way through the midfield. I would agree with that. I actually have them. It's weird because I actually have them at a 5. Now, when Yves Bissouma came onto the field to actually give him support, it was a lot better. It was a night and day better. But this is a rating in totality. But that being said, this is what I want for Archie Gray. I want him thrown into the deep end because we have seen him. Now, granted, he moved to the right back position eventually. But that being said, I want to see him in the deep end versus the Crystal Palaces, Liverpools, whatever the case may be, because next year he is going to be in a dogfight for that starting position, and these are the lessons that he needs to learn. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I just didn't think it was the greatest performance from Archie Gray today. It certainly wasn't as bad as Jed Spence, but it was somewhere right around bang average. How about Rodrigo Betancourt?
I'm going to give Rodrigo, given only the fact that he played 45 minutes, I think a 6 is about where I'm at with Benton Kerr. He was probably one of the better one of our better players in in that first half. Constantly trying to. He was even busting a gut to track back and fill the void that Spence was left. You raised that point. He was trying to get the ball moving, trying to get working. I feel sorry for him, but it was the first time he's ever captained Spurs, and it was just a bit of a horror show for him. But he at least was trying to lead by example and show the gut and determination and the heart to run and track and tackle and try to disrupt Crystal Palace. It was just a shame that the 8 other players on the pitch didn't seem to want to do the same for him.
Yeah, and that's why I give him a 7 for everything you just said. I think that is actually worth it, and I think that at times he was the only one that was at certain points of that first half. He's the only one that was dedicated, making sure that Crystal Palace just didn't open him up. But that being said, it is what it is. He only got 45 minutes, but I still think that performance was worthy of something of a 7. How about Pap Star?
I'm going to give him a 4.5. I think he was missing for a lot of the first half, and could have done better with his header from the Porro cross in the second half. The reason why I say 4.5, and that is just below average, but the reason why it's not lower is because when Bissouma came on at half time and Papsar was pushed up as the number 10, it's not his natural position. He doesn't play as a number 10. He is more of a box to box and arriving late. But that being said, I think he could have done better. And given the way the game was playing, yes, play as a number 10, but still tried to do the role as a box to box, being put in that number 10 position. And I just don't think he did enough for me today. And I was slightly disappointed. So I'm giving Sarah 4.5.
I am as well too, and I think this just highlights whenever he gets an opportunity to start, he just does not come up. I didn't even think in that first half he even played. I didn't even think he played the box to box role even all that well. And again, I think a lot of that has to do with when he when he's at his best, we're either protecting a lead. You know what I mean? It always seems when he plays well, it's like when we're up and he's able to play free and loose without any pressure. But when teams constantly put pressure, he just seems to disappear. And I thought today was one of those moments. And you're right. In the second half, it opened up a little bit, and he was able to get forward. But when he did get forward, he didn't take enough. He didn't. That opportunity was right there. All he had to do was put a good header on it, and it was just All right.
It was free header, and he should have done better. He should be at least hitting the target. Odebear, right? Odebear. So I've given Odebear a 4. Like you say with Sarr in the first half. I'm like that with Odebear in the first half. Where was he? I don't really remember him really touching the ball in the first half. He did pick up a little bit in the second half. It's a little bit, yeah, and that's really. I just think he had a very, very quiet game, and an anonymous game is probably the best way to put it. It pains me to say it. It reminded me a little bit of Brennan Johnson against the big teams. Just disappeared.
Yeah. I also will give him a 4.5, and mainly because number one, when Crystal Palace essentially collapsed on him on the touchline, the ability to try to do little things to try to find an open man, or at least try to play the ball forward, using a little craftiness, using a little creativity to just try to get forward. He was unable to do that. But in the second half, when things opened up and they were putting the ball on him, every single time that he tried to put one in, his crosses were under hit right into defenders, deflected out. Essentially killing the attack. But that being said, I also think he's out of position on the right side. He's more of a natural left winger. But that being said, you still have a job to do. And I didn't think it was good enough. Matisse Tell.
So Tell, I mean, I kind of feel for Tell here because he probably played in about 3 different positions this game. So I'm going to give Tell. I'm going to give him a 5. It's about middle of the park, like we say, like average. Very lively, looking to try to break the lines, look to try and create something, but pains me to say it lacked the end product. That's probably what sums it up. It lacked the end product. Looked good with his dribbling and his ball control and like I say, running through and breaking the lines. But that end product is what's going to make or break Matisse Tell, and he was lacking a little bit of that today. So for me, it's a 5.
Yeah, I'll do that as well too. But I also kind of want to say it's a little incomplete because he did play multiple positions. But sometimes in isolation, when he was getting up the field, he was actually against 1v1 against Chris Richards. Richards got the best of him a lot of those in a lot of those opportunities. And I think you're absolutely right. I will say though, he had some nice through balls in the second half when he was trying to play Sonny on the ball. He did have a nice little deft touch there. So I don't want to discredit him because I thought that he was looking towards goal, which is something that for a guy like Wilson Odebear, I didn't think he had that same vision. So I want to give him his flowers in certain points, but it's going to be a 5, but really it's incomplete. And that's for me. That's the same with Dejan Kulusevski.
Yeah, I mean, I gave Kulusevski a little bit of a higher mark. I gave him a 5.5. And it's hard to warrant giving him any more than a 5.5 because he played 20 minutes of football, and it's it's hard to say that what could have happened if it had been on the pitch for longer. We can't see alternative realities and alternative universes. But yeah, I would say a 5.5 for the 20 minutes that he played is where I'm at with Kulusevski.
Yeah, and it's that reason why I can't give him a rating because he was only on the field 20 minutes. He didn't even have an opportunity to really open up and actually play his game. It's hard. It's really hard to judge a performance based on it. But yeah, I guess we can give him an average rating, but yeah, I'm gonna abstain from giving one just because he didn't even play a full half. So it is what it is. How about the bench?
So I'll just read these out. What I've got written down. So Mikey Moore, I've given him a 5. He didn't get the service when he came on. The ball wasn't being played to him, and when he did get it, he get it in good areas. He just was a little bit easily dispossessed for me. Yves Bissouma, I'm going to give him a 5. I think he was kind of at fault for the second goal. It didn't follow his man, and it enabled him to break the line, and the ball was played back, and Crystal Palace go 2-0 up. And coming on at half time, you expect him to be wanting to make sure that he's being the man to. Yeah, exactly. And Sonny for the last 30 minutes. I'm going to give Sonny a 6. When the ball came forward and he got the ball, he looked lively. He lifted the crowd, but he did look rusty. And there was one opportunity where he could have squared it to Moore, and he didn't. He just sort of he divvied on it a little bit, and he the block came in. So yeah, but I think 6 is a good fare.
I agree with you. I think I gave Mikey Moore a 5.5. Again, we're talking about an average performance. Where there wasn't the same energy. I don't want to use that term that we saw Mikey Moore versus West Ham, where when he came on, he looked to be a little bit of a difference maker. This one was just it had a different vibe when Mikey Moore came on, and I think maybe Moore came on a little earlier than what was supposed to be expected. But
yeah,
I give Yves Bissouma a 5.5 as well too. Yeah, that you're absolutely right. I mean, we're talking the second half. You're got to be a little bit more sharp, a little bit more focused, to not allow Everich Easy just to run straight down the middle and put himself in a position to score a goal. That's your man that you have to pick up. And it looked like he was kind of jogging. But as the second half did progress, I thought he got a little bit better, but not enough.
Yeah, he grew into the game, didn't he? Really, that's what I would say. He sort of he got better as the game wore on, and he became a bit more sure-footed and a bit more solid there. So
yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. The overall body of work, it is what it is. And I give Sonny a 6 as well too. One of the things that I will say, regardless of the sharpness, he was turning and looking towards goal. He was looking to, at least try to be, goal dangerous. So I want to give him credit for that. And it did look like, coming on the pitch, it feels like he's not going to take all that long to get back into the swing of things. And I hopefully that is the way that goes. And last but not least for our ratings, Ange Postecoglou.
I think I've got to give him a 5 as well, Steve. I think look, the team that he chose, I agreed with. The execution and the tactics of what he actually must have said to them leaves me questioning what he did want the team to be doing, because it did look a little disorganised in the first half. Better in the second half, but disorganised in the first. And forced into the early substitution with Eke, and I think got the other substitutions about right. But I probably would have, like we said in the watch along, I would have probably changed the back line a little bit. Yes, I know that Mickey, we want to be careful with Mickey and Cutty, but I think given how they were really pressing on us and pushing us back, I think probably maybe bringing Van der Ven or Romero on would have given that stability a little bit there, and maybe have taken Danso off or Spence off. But that's hindsight, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing.
That's funny. That's great. Yeah, I give him a 5 too, and I think this was everything that happened today was by plan, because you have 2 matches before the final. So what's it going to be? Are you going to play your starters today, or are you going to play them on Friday against Aston Villa, or at least play some of them, right? So you already knew there was going to be a match where you were going to see full rotation, and it just so happened it was today. And again, you and I both looked at the starting 11 and said the exact same things. This was expected. But there should still be enough quality out there to give Crystal Palace a match. That didn't necessarily turn off. Yes, I mean, is the execution on Ange Postecoglou? No, it's on the players. The players are out there to do a job, right? So if you want to say that he's out of the depth, it's like, what are you talking about? This is by pattern. This happened when we were playing Frankfurt. This happened when we were playing AZ Alkmaar, right? So there's going to be rotation. I think it was with what was it? It was Nottingham Forest and then Liverpool before a Europa League game. And that's the thing. It's like against Nottingham Forest, he was heavily rotated, and then he played some starters against Liverpool. But that being said, it's going to follow the exact same pattern. But that being said, I thought his substitutions were fine. And I thought he did it right. I thought he hit the right buttons, and it is what it is. Like this game, in my estimation, this game wasn't necessarily about Ange Postecoglou's inability. I just thought this was more about Crystal Palace coming in with the right game plan. And flat out, that's just how it was. All right, before we go, James, and call it an afternoon and put a button on this one, we are going to have our man of the match.
So my man at match, Steve, I'm probably going to have to give it to Bentancur.
Yep.
Even though he only played half the first half.
Yeah. I agree.
It was probably the only player that really tried in that game. And probably left it all out on the field. So that's where we're at. And Archer, I completely agree. We've only won 6 games at home all season, 20 defeats and counting is horrific. Absolutely.
It's shambolic.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my man of the match to Dejan Kulusevski. I'm just playing. I'm playing. Everybody knows how much I love Kulu. But no, it is Rodrigo Betancourt. And yeah, he only played a half. And that just lets you know exactly where the rest of the team was today. When you're looking to get forward, but you're spending much of your playing time on the back foot, trying to defend, trying to close down space. And I thought Rodrigo Betancourt was pretty much everywhere in that first half. He was at least trying to lead that team. But that being said, it has to be Rodrigo Betancourt as man of the match, if not VAR. That's funny.
Yeah, that one.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us on this one, James. I want to thank you for your contributions today, man. As always, you do an absolutely fantastic job. Is there any last words that you want to get in before we call this one good?
No. I just like I say, a bit disappointed, but hopefully against Aston Villa will better performance. But we're on the way to Bilbao, and we are gonna lift the trophy.
That's exactly right. I do want to thank all those that tuned in today from before the whistle to the watch along, now to the final score. All those that participated in the chat today. Dermatron, who was at the stadium, will be back, and the regular lineup for THFC TWD will most likely be in fact starting tomorrow. So you guys will be back with Derma ASAP. But I'm very happy that he got to go out there to the ground today to watch it. Too bad that Spurs could not give him that treat that he was looking for. But it is what it is. So James, I want to thank you again. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we will back next week. We'll be back next Friday for all the pregame, the watch along, the postgame festivities against Aston Villa. Until then, James and everybody, have a great afternoon.
Yep, thank you very much, and you have a good afternoon as well, Steve.
Kulusevski till we die.
In Kulusevski we do we trust.
In Kulusevski we trust. Come on, you Spurs.